An elderly woman rescued a small kitten bat when her unusual pet grew up. She nearly screamed in horror. Rose lived in a cozy house on the edge of town. After her husband died, she was left alone. Her days became quiet and monotonous. Her only comfort was her garden flowers, which she tended with special care every morning. Rose woke with the first sunlight, made tea, and sat on her veranda. She would rock in her old chair, watching nature and remembering happy years with her husband, though neighbors invited her out. She increasingly chose solitude. Became her companion. One chilly autumn evening, Rose heard a strange sound from her yard. With a warm shawl over her shoulders, she stepped onto the porch and listened. The sound came again, a pitiful squeak. Like a kitten's cry, the wind was picking up, and rain began beating against the roof. Rose hesitated, wondering if she should go out in such weather, but the squeaking grew louder. Taking a flashlight, she ventured into the darkness, carefully walking on wet grass. She circled the house. Her light beam caught movement near an old oak tree, a tiny, fluffy ball, shivering from cold and fear. Rose's heart melted. She gently picked up the little creature and held it to her chest. It was a tiny kitten, with soft, gray-brown fur and big frightened eddies. Thunder clapped loudly. The kitten trembled and clung to Rose's sweaters. Hurried back inside, feeling the little heart beating against her own. She washed the kitten with warm water, dried it with a soft towel, and offered warm milk. The kitten drank eagerly, then curled up on her lap and fell asleep. Rose stayed awake all night, listening to the kitten's breathing, worried it might get sick after being in the cold. By morning, it appeared healthy and playful. The kitten grew more energetic, curiously exploring its new home. Rose named him Milo and took him to the local vet. Dr. Harris confirmed Milo was healthy, but needed special care. Duetto his young age as days passed. Rose's life gained new meaning. She enjoyed watching Milo grow. The kitten remarkably smart and playful. Soon Rose noticed Milo was different from ordinary kittens. He had very round yellow eyes, fluffy cheeks, and short legs. She assumed teas were just breacheractors. Despite his short legs, Milo skillfully climbed curtains. He spent hours on the windowsill, watching guard. When wild weeks passed, and Milo grew faster than typical cats his age. His fur became thicker, especially on his cheeks and tail. Rose adored him and gave him many treats. When she bought him a toy mouse, Milo reacted with incredibly excitement, crouching low like a hunter and darting at his prey with lightning speed. When Rose guarded Milo, watched her closely in evenings. He curled up on her lap during reading or TV time. Rose noticed his presence improved her well-being. She thought less about loneliness, moved more, and smiled often. Even her joint pain seemed to lessen. One sunny afternoon, while Rose was working in her garden as usual, Milo walked beside her among the flowers. As they moved along the path, the kitten suddenly froze in place. Rose stopped too and looked ahead. There, running quickly through the grass, was a field mouse. The kitten jumped, quickly catching prey in one leap. The shunting skill amazed Rose, who had never seen such a young cat catch prey so well. She bought a special blue leash to show Milo off to friends, but the kitten refused to wear it, hiding under the bed whenever she took it out. Rose noticed Milo acted strangely around loud noises, putting his ears down and hiding. When he heard the vacuum cleaner or phone ringing as winter came, his fur grew fluffier and turned a pretty silver color that shined in the light, making him look bigger. One morning, Rose found Milo had escaped outside and was happy-larrying in the snow. Unusual for most cats who hate cold weather, he was rolling in snow and catching snowflakes, rising to come inside until coaxed frithriats. Rose began noticing other strange things. Milo disliked catnip but enjoyed chewing twigs and grass from the gardenias. Rose was learning about these strange habits. Another incident revealed more about her unusual pet. One afternoon, while dusting her shelves, Rose accidentally dropped a vase. Loud crash startled Milo, and he immediately hid under the couch. His body moved like lightning, a blur of silver fur racing across the room, but instead of the usual meowing, the kitten made a strange sound resembling a growl of a wild predator. The deep rumbling noise filled the quiet house, sending shivers down Rose's spine. This puzzled Rose even more. She knelt down, trying to see Milo under furniture, wondering what could make a small animal produce such a threat. Next, one day, Rose's old friend Margaret come to visit. The moment she stepped at the door, Milo watched her with intense, unblinking eyes from his perch in the windowsill. Seeing Milo, she exclaimed in surprise, "My goodness. Rosa, what kind of animal is that? He doesn't look like a regular cat at all." Her voice was high with shock, her finger pointing at the unusual creature. These words made Rose seriously think. They echoed in her mind long after Margaret had left, causing her to question everything she thought. She knew she began to pay more attention to her pet. She watched him closely during the day and sometime even at night, noting his every movement. Indeed, there was something unusual, even wild, about his appearance. The round face, small ears, and bushy tail didn't quite fit the image of a domestic Pawthos. Eyes seemed to knowing, to alert, as if hiding secrets from a different world. After several days of careful observation and growing concern, Rose decided to take Milo to the vet. Her hands trembled as she placed the strange cat in the carrier, wondering waitins where she might find Dr. Harris, the local expert on pet examen. The cat, for a long time, his brows furrowed deeper with each passing minute as he checked Milo. Steith's eyes, an unusual coat highs expression, grew more and more puzzled, occasionally shaking his head in disbelief while making notes on his clipboard. "You know, Mrs. Miller," Heffinolly said, after what seemed like hours of tense silence. "I'm not sure, Pawthos. Fluffy little one might not be an ordinary cat. Sorry for the interruption, Boffer. We continue with the story. I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much." His teeth pattern is unusual and his code doesn't match any domestic breed Evian countered. "In 30 years of practice, one need to do some further tests." He spoke slowly, choosing his words carefully. Ash stroked Milo's thick fur with a mixture of professional curiosity and genuine wonder. The next few days, Rose spent in anxious anticipation. Every ring of the phone made her jump, hoping for answers, but fearing what they might avail. She couldn't stop thinking of Booth Vets' words, replaying them in her mind while watching Milo's every movement with new eyes. What if Milo wasn't really an ordinary cat? The possibility both frightened and excited her. What should she do then? Would she need to give up the pet she had grown to love so dearly? She found herself taking photos of Milo's strange behavior, document everything as evidence. Office minuteness. Finally, the test results arrived. The waiting had been almost stumblable with Rose checking her phone constantly for missed calls. Dr. Harris invited Rose to Tho Clinic for an important conversation, his voice serious over the phone. With her heart pounding against her ribs like a drum, she walked into the office holding Milo protectively in her arms. The cat seemed unusually calm, as if he somehow understood the importance of this moment. "Mrs. Miller?" The vet began, leaning forward across his desk with an intensity in his eyes. "The results are astonishing. Your Milo is not a domesticate. He's a Pawthos cat, a rare wild feline native to the steppes of Central Asia." His finger tapped on a book openetto, a photo that looked remarkably like her. Pet Rose felt dizzy from the news, gripping the edge of her chair to steady herself. Dr. Harris explained that Pawthos cats are an endangered species listed in the Red Book. They typically avoid human contact completely and are known for their solitary, secretive nature. They are poorly adapted to captivity and need special care, including specific diets and environmental conditions to thrive. "You've done an amazing job raising this Bodhi," the vet said with genuine admiration in his voice, noting how healthy Milo appeared despite unusual circumstance. "But now we need to figure out what to do next." He placed a gentle hand on Rose's shoulder, seeing the worry and confusion written across her face. When Rose returned home that evening, she was in turmoil. The truth had changed everything, yet nothing. Milo was still the same creature she had grown to love, only now she carried the weight off knowing who he truly was meant to be. Her mind raced with conflicting thoughts, day and night, stealing her sleep and appetite. She had grown so attached to Milo that the thought of partying with him seemed unbearable each time. She looked at Haisunik's face and watched him play around the house. Her heart broke a little more, but at the same time she understood Thatch couldn't provide the proper care how needed. Her apartment wasn't designed for a wild animal, and she lacked the knowledge to meet his special dietary and environmental requirements. Moreover, keeping a wild animal at home was illegal. The laws existed to protect these rare creatures, and Rose didn't want to risk Milo's health or her own legal standing by ignoring this reality after much thought and consultation with experts, including long phone calls and visits to animal specialists who understood her emotional struggle. Rose made a difficult decision. Hands trembled as she filled out paperwork, tears staining the form she agreed to transfer Milo to a wildlife rehabilitation center where he could receive the proper care and be prepared for release into the wild. The center had experienced staff trained specifically in handling endangered species and helping them transition back to their natural habitats. The day of their parting ways, hardest day of Rose's life, the morning arrived with a gray sky that matched her mood perfectly. She couldn't hold back the tears as she said goodbye to her fluffy friend. They streamed down her face. Ash stroked his fur one last time, memorizing every pattern and texture. Milo, sensing the importance of the moment, quietly purred and rubbed against her hands. His golden eyes seemed to hold a special understanding, almost as if he knew this was a necessary good be, despite their strong bond. Staff assured Rose that they would take good care of the palace's cat and keep her updated on his progress. They promised photos and regular reports explaining their rehabilitation process with patience and compassion. For her obvious distress, their kindness provided a small comforting the midst of her overwhelmingness. As Rose returned to her empty house, time seemed to slow down. Days turned into weeks and weeks into weeks into months. Several months passed as she adjusted to life without her unusual companion. The changing seasons mark a time. As Rose lived with her empty home missing Milo's presence in every corner, Rosie received detailed reports about how Milo was adapting to his new environment. Each update brought mixed emotions, joy at his progress, but longing for his company had grown. Noticeably, his once kitten-like frame, now muscular and powerful, became stronger through specialized training exercises and began to show the true behaviors of a wild animal. His hunting instincts sharpened dramatically, and he no longer showed any interest in the toys or comforts of domestic life. Specialists were confident he would soon be ready for release into the wild. Their optimistic notes explained how well he was bonding with others of his kind and relearning their survival skills that were somehow a wacy within him. Rose was invited to participate in this important event. The invitation arrived on a spring morning, causing her heart to race. With anticipation and nervousness, arrived at the reserve where Milo is to be released, a vast, protected area that mimicked the steppes of Central Asia with rolling hills and scattered vegetation. Her heart was full of excitement and sadness as she watched the handlers prepare the special transports. The day was perfect, clear skies and a gentle breeze rustling through the grasses of the habitat. When the cage was opened, Milo hesitated at first, blinking in the bright sunlight off his ancestral homeland. He carefully sniffed the unfamiliar scents around him, his whiskers twitching with each new discovery. His caution showed how much he had changed from the playful kitten in her living room. Then, as if gathering his courage, he took a few steps and stopped, looking around at the vast landscape stretching before him, his muscles tensed beneath his thick coat, ready to explore this new freedom. Rose struggled to hold back her tears as she witnessed this pivotal moment in Milo's journey. Her hands clutched the fabric of her jacket, knuckles white with emotion. Suddenly a shadow flickered in the distance. It was a wild palace's cat, its distinctive features unmistakable even from afar. Thrilled cat paused, seeming to notice Milo with curious interest. Milo tensed, every sense alert to this encounter, and thento everyone's surprise. He confidently towards his fellow feline with purpose and recognition. The rehabilitation steists exchanged amazed glances at this unexpected behavior and that perfectment of freedom. Rose Finnel undersent that true love so Motamins letting go, allowing those Weckerish to become who they were a waysment to be. Within moments, both animals despaired into the tall grass, to shadows merging with the landscape that was their true home. The specialists murmured excitedly about this rare and perfect integration. Rose stood for a long time, gazing into the distance where she had last seen her special friend. The wind dried the tears in her cheeks as birds called overhead. She understood that she had made the right decision by giving her pet a chance at a natural life. The tempora joy of keeping him would never compredo the freedom he now experienced. This experience had changed her, forever opening her eyes to a world beyond her own need, teaching her to appreciate the beauty of wild nature and the importance of reserving rare species of animals. She left the reserve with a lighter heart, knowing that somewhere in Ho's grasslands, Milo was finally where he truly belonged. Did you enjoy this story? Do you think Rose made the right decision? What would you have done in her place? Let us know in the comments below. If you like the story, subscribe to this channel and leave a like sometimes. It's the right thing to do, doesn't feel right at all. Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.